Hey, haven't you been wanting to start a podcast?
Yeah, but doesn't it take a lot to make one?
Well, let me tell you about Anchor. It's free, and it's the easiest way to make a podcast. On top of that, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
Oh, that sounds amazing. But doesn't it take a lot of work to put my podcast on different platforms?
Actually, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more.
That sounds fantastic.
On top of that, you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
So where do I get started?
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. And welcome back to another episode of the Convoluted podcast. This is your host, Liz, and I'm here with Tyrant, Dominus, aka Jesus.
Hello.
And if it's your first time listening, we hope you follow or subscribe. It's free, and you can always unfollow or unsubscribe. So let's get into the episode. How are you, Jesus?
I am doing pretty well, actually. For everyone listening, I hope the holidays went well, went great, and hope you guys had some fun presents. How about yourself?
It was good. A lot of food fest. That is for sure. We are foodies in my household, so.
That's what the holidays are for. Good food. Good food.
Well, yeah.
And family
Well, you think
and
about
friends.
it. You start out Christmas with Swiss egg bake, and end it with prime rib on the Traeger.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Well, oh, it was yummy. That was so good.
Look at that shit.
You got that right.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a good year. It was a good feasting, that's for sure. We couldn't go down to my brother's because the 12-pound roast wouldn't fit in his Traeger. We did it in ours, and it was scraping the top of it. That's how big
That's a big hog.
You mean beef?
Either way, meat.
Meats.
I need a meat sound effect.
Pizza.
But yeah, everyone, welcome to the 2022. As you are listening, we are finally back to kind of our normalcy. We're gonna have our fun times. And since it's the New Year's, there's a few things we want to talk about. I forgot to mention this before to add to the docket. Have you ever been a fan of like resolutions or things like that? When was like the last time you actually did like a New Year's resolution? Things like in that manner.
I say I'm gonna do something better, and then I quit doing it because I was like, okay, I'm not doing it. I'm not obviously carrying it out. It lasts for a couple weeks, and then it's like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And then I just say, make my year better by having more fun and enjoying it. And but this year I really have to focus because I have a wedding to attend in like 6.5 months.
Ooh, wedding. That sounds fun.
Oh yeah, it's my sister's wedding. She's getting married.
Oh, then congratulations to her.
Thank you.
I need a clapping sound effect. Do I have one? Give me a second. What does this do? Sure, why not? That one will work. But yeah, so actually, when was the last time you made a prior to this one a resolution?
Probably a few years ago. It's been quite a long time. I don't think I've ever had a resolution that I actually stuck to.
I don't think most people do, actually. Let us know let us know in the comments if you guys have ever made a resolution and stuck to it. If not, what was the one you did? Because for sure, it is one of those things we all try to do our best. I've read before that it's better to start a resolution like around February because most people do the traditional year, start of the year, which doesn't really mean anything. It's just arbitrary because it's just another day. It's just mentally just like, okay, it's a new year. You can always start a resolution whenever.
Yeah,
But
it's true, but I only have 6.5 months, so I really got to start mine this like this week.
like you, yeah. So you already you have your goal in mindset. Good.
Yeah, I know I have to start out small, but it's every day it's working on it. I actually started focusing on drinking more water as of last week. So I'm like, okay, I really haven't been drinking a whole lot of water. I need to start focusing on it. So I've been upping it a little bit every day. So there's a couple days I haven't been so great, but other days I'm really great. So
There you go. Trying to cut off things like that. That's what I did a couple years ago. I cut off soda and like sugars and stuff. I rarely drink juices nowadays even. Like I have a cup of OJ every once in a while, but even so, actually the other just when was it? During the day before Christmas, when I was helping make like some of the dinner. We were eating dinner and there was like it was either gonna I was trying to find something to drink. I normally just either drink water or G Fuel. And
Mhm.
I was like, I don't want to get up. So I was like, there was a can of pineapple Fanta on the table. I'm like, sure, why not, right? Like, I
Mhm.
haven't drank soda in a long time. I think that's a lie. I have drank soda as a chaser, but I think the taste kind of is just to get rid of the taste of alcohol. I'll say that. So it's not like really drinking soda. I would say, would you agree?
Yeah, if you're not really drinking a full can of soda, you're only drinking like here and there little sips of it.
So yeah, it was just a quick. That's what the Coke was for. But anyways, so I went to go to drink the can of pineapple Fanta. My first gulp, it was the grossest thing I've ever had. And I used to love pineapple Fanta, and it's like I was drinking syrup. I literally wanted to like spit it out of my mouth.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like you quit that thing and your body goes, "Oh, what is this? What have you done to me?" And you have withdrawals first, and then they're like, when you have it again, you're like, "Oh no, 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 no."
So yeah, like okay, now I'm yeah. So I'll just stick to my waters and G Fuel and the occasional cider. But yeah, it's like just a reminder. I can easily kick a quote habit every once in a while. But as far as goals, there's actually a couple goals. I don't know if you've thought of some goals for at least the show and things like that. I don't know if you've been thinking about that at all.
uh, I do think about it, but then I think it's been mostly, and I'm sorry, I'm being selfish, and it's just been self motivated to do what I need to take care of me first.
That's fine. You are the talent of the show.
I'm
So.
not. You are.
Oh no, you're a talent of the show. I'm the producer and but basically everything. Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah,
just need
you're
to
the everything. You're the whole thing. I follow along. Go, yes, okay.
you're the pretty voice. How about that? Okay, but some of the
Oh,
things I've been
speaking of which, sorry, I got to interrupt. That just reminds me
okay.
of a story this week. I was hit on by like a 70-year-old man. It's like, how is a pretty thing working behind the counter like that? I was like, and I'm like, what? I was like, and he said, like, maybe would he a pretty, like this is a pretty small like pharmacy thing. And then he goes to my pharmacist on deck, and he's like, and he says to him, "How did you get to work with such a pretty girl like her?" I'm like, and we're just like looking at each other, this A, awkward, and B, inappropriate, and oh my god, we were like just looking at each other like, what the fuck do we say? Because you can't like say anything to get like crossing the lines because you got that old and new, idea, and then it's like, how do you like? He had one
Yeah,
of those bearded like braids in his beard. I was like, oh god.
it is one of those moments. Like, yeah, it's at first it's a nice compliment, right? But then it can get weird really fast.
Yeah, he went there. He went there.
Yeah, recently one of our old employees transferred to a different department, and to a more I would say public part of the store, and it went from 0 to 60 extremely fast. Apparently, she was like she was getting like hit on, and yeah, not so bueno. So like it's rough for the ladies out there, or at least
Yeah.
the gorgeous people out there.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a point of being like
there
you're
is
being appropriate, and then there's the point you're being inappropriate,
that is
right?
true. So yeah, it's always nice to receive a compliment, but try to keep it to at least one, and don't over not indulge. What's the right word? Don't
Over exaggerate? No, not
no.
that word.
There's a word, and I know the audience is yelling at us right now. But there's a word. Just don't over something. Just pay a nice compliment. It goes a long way. So sometimes
You look nice today. Great, walk away. Like that's it. But don't go, oh, you're a pretty girl. And then basically, an effort way, he basically just called my coworker ugly. I was like, oh God, no! Don't ever say that. It's inappropriate.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fun.
Creepy.
That's
Don't
creepy.
get overly creepy.
Don't get overly creepy. But yeah, kind of going back a little bit to finish off the topic of the show and things like that. As far as like some goals like for the show. So as I don't know where everyone listens to this. Like either you're listening to this on either Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to, or even if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know. Actually, I kind of want to know where you guys are listening to us. But
we can put that as a poll on our thing at the end of our.
Yeah, I'll put that on a poll on not only on this on the Spotify list. So if you're listening on Spotify, there's going to be a poll, so there's more likely that actually it won't work because those are for Spotify listeners only. So if you're listening to Spotify, you get a little bit more bonuses on there apparently. But yeah, or if you're watching on YouTube, I can do something there because on the YouTube, if you listen to this, I have like 2 other shows on there that I work on. So like one thing I'm trying to do is get to 300 subscribers by the end of 2022.
That'd be awesome.
The growth, yeah, it's getting there actually. Surprisingly, last year it went up a good like 60 people.
Nice.
I know, I was like surprised, and as in our listenership, like I think we talked about this during the 100th episode, but we'll kind of talk a little bit about this because it was a chaotic episode, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. But we have gone up like a good like 200% in listenership, so we really appreciate all our listeners and all the new listeners. If this is episode 1 for you.
Yes, we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it's always great, and if you enjoy listening to this, we always like it for you guys to share it. Word of mouth is one of the best ways to do it, or just grab their phones and open their podcast app and just add it. They're like, what is this? But yeah, some of the goals like that, just trying to not like for when it comes to content, it's like numbers are a big thing, but just being able to grow and share it to more individuals would be fantastic. So that's where I kind of want to do that. Personal group things, nothing too big. I'm not that worried too much. Maybe just a few nitpicky things like for sure I need to be taking my vitamins more often, so I'm gonna try to actually take my vitamins for sure without delay. I'm really bad at that.
What I do with my rule for vitamins, because I'm terrible too, is like every day I go to work. That's the day I take them. Make sure I take them right before shift.
I was doing that last year. I did it for a good solid month because I think it's they say it's you have to do it for like 3 weeks. You have to do it for 3 weeks to build a habit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
Or
And
something like that. I know.
for yeah, and for a good like month, maybe month and a half, because I had you know those week pill trays things people have.
Mm-hmm.
I was using that to like I had all my vitamins and I would refill it on my last day off. So when it was time for the work week, I would do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the way, I stopped doing that. I don't know why, but it was kind of helping a little bit because
Yeah.
one, it does just one give you the all the vitamins you do need that you don't normally get, and I already have a
Efficiency?
poor no
You're
mm,
deficient. Just say it. You're deficient. I know I'm deficient of like vitamin D and all that crap.
yeah,
So
yeah. I just yeah. So I was trying to say I just don't have the proper nutritional meals that is needed for someone to be 100% right. No, I don't think
yeah,
anyone does.
I don't think so
Um.
either. Like I mean, like I'm slowly depriving myself of dairy of any kind, and
Oh yeah.
I'm having to take calcium to like kind of supplement it somehow into my body to get that calcium.
So yeah. So kind of that is like little things being more like just small things to improve my health. Just things like that. Just to better reminders and things like
Yeah.
that. For sure, if you guys want to catch me live, I'll be streaming more often now, starting mid-January. So if you're listening to this later, yeah, I'm gonna be starting to stream more, twice a week for sure, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you can catch me at twitch.tv slash tyrant underscore Dominus if you want to catch me live and hang out for a little bit. And maybe I'll do the occasional stream on the weekends. For sure, I've been streaming a lot lately. Some people have been popping in and out. So for those who are listening from there, thank you. Just some random people just hop in. I've
Excuse
been
me,
having
sorry.
fun. No, you're good. But yeah, if you want to catch me and have a little fun time while we hang out, come join me there. But yeah, just small things like that. Just having more fun things to do and a little bit more to improve my health. Those are kind of the self goals, and then for the podcast and all my other projects, there is one secret project I'm working with an old guest.
Ooh.
So look forward to that in the coming months. It's been a project that's been in a standstill for the last I think 3 months since we've been talking in DMs. But look forward to that. It's been a tough ride, but I think we'll get there soon.
Sweet.
So look forward to that. But yeah, but there's going to be new stuff. Also, I want to get back to talking with guests themselves. You know, bringing guests at least once a month, finding people from around the internet again, and talking with them about projects and things like that. That was what the show was original about. Actually, original about still talking about BS like we are doing now.
We all talk about BS.
But yeah, bringing back some guests because it's always fun to talk to individuals.
Yep, it is fun. It's a different, um, what's that word? I have it in my head. Just
We're a
a
loss
different
for words right
perspective.
now, right?
Bruh.
We're a loss for words today, aren't we?
Oh yeah, I know. I'm like, ooh, it's not a good start. And I had like 3 cups of coffee.
Oh my
A
god.
different perspective in life. How's that?
Exactly. So yeah. So for sure that's kind of us catching up with everyone. But let's kind of do a little bit more self-indulgence before we get into some of the fun topics and stories um and get in there. Did you get any fun presents or anything?
I got boots and a hair straightener.
Boots and a hair straightener. I know hair straighteners are more than expensive than I thought they were because I was a couple years ago I was trying to buy one for my sister, and I did not realize how expensive those things were.
Yeah, they are expensive. I don't know why your sisters need it. Oh wait, maybe one of them.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand hairstyles. My hair looks fabulous all the time, so you know it.
I think I have the more fabulous hair, but who's gonna question that?
All right, we're gonna have to put a post on that one. We're gonna
Pull on
also
our
talk.
hair.
But yeah. Oh, last thing before we kind of close up, don't forget there's gonna be, by the time this gets posted, I think we'll do. I need a calendar really quick. Calendar on the 14th of January 2022. That's going to be the last day you're going to be able to purchase any of our merch. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we gotta
on
get
any of,
start doing that too.
yeah, I know, right? It's the water. It's just so yeah, that's going to be the last day you can purchase any of our previous merch. Some of it's going to be going away. The only thing that's going to be left on there are going to be our libations, libations line, our season 4 line, and the new season 5 line, and the special uh bow to the king or else necrophilia shirt that's coming out. So if you want to,
awesome.
if you want to know the reference to that, go ahead and listen to episode 100. But yeah, that shirt's going to be a limited edition only for 30 days. So that's going to pop off on the 14th. So the 14th, remember that, guys. It's going to be the last time you can buy some specific designs. And that's going to be the start of the, actually no, on the 15th, the Bow to the King shirt will be, will go live. So the day after, we're currently working still on the design to make it look as amazing as possible for people to, for as funny as the joke was, I wanted to make it look cool, at least. So yeah, so go check out store.tyrantdominus.com. And that's also when the promotion will end for pod 10 to get 10% off. So make sure you get that stuff before it goes away. Anything else you want to say, Liz, before we get into these stories?
Nope. I think we're good. I think we covered most everything.
Okay, so which store do you want to start with? That's the question here.
I think we need to do a tribute to our favorite and one and only awesome comedic Betty White. She has been a lifetime achievement forever. She has been standing against racism, and she's been an awesome lady. I think we should have praised her. I mean, she took 2020 with her, and hopefully we'll see a light for the new year for 2022. She, of course, because she's gone. I'm so sad.
Yes, Betty White was one of those national treasures that I think almost everyone loved. She's most notably known for the Mary Tyler Moore show and the Golden Girls. Yep. But she for sure is one of those individuals that for sure was like an icon for everyone.
She was a heart of gold. She was a love of animals, and she was just a funny woman too. She was really funny. She did really well. I mean, she know how to play her cards right, for sure. I'm really hoping she would live to be her 100th birthday. That would be awesome. But now there's a tribute to her. They're saying that we'll always remember her on January 17th, making a national holiday per se, quote unquote, and make it as an honor to her, a tribute to her.
Actually, you know what's pretty messed up? Actually, I think it was People Magazine. They put out a magazine celebrating Betty White's 100th year, and it says 100 years on it.
Oh shit. That's not good.
Was it People Magazine? Wait, was it? I gotta find when I saw it, it's like that was because I learned about her death. Like I think like most people did on Twitter.
I did not actually. I found it. Somebody gave me a post and link. I was talking to somebody on our Messenger, and they posted this. And I was like, no, and I started thinking everywhere. It was like she died. I'm like, this has got to be a joke. This has got to be a joke, right? No.
Oh, it was People Magazine.
Oh,
yeah.
So
I didn't learn about her passing until actually late that day because I haven't been on social media lately. But But yeah, it is saddening to hear that. But for sure, she is someone that was loved by everyone, and she knew she was loved by everyone too.
Oh yeah. Uh,
But yeah, so
she was a great woman.
rest in peace, Betty White. Do I have a sound effect for the? Nope, I only have the sad people one.
Don't do the
That
sad
one.
people one. It's kind of sad, but we don't want to
Uh,
make her sad. She was an awesome woman. She did a lot of things. A lot of
do I have
things.
a fun one? Let me see here. I do not. You know what? We'll do this one. Wait, is it this one?
And look at that shit.
No, this one.
Not a single fuck was given this day.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was our tribute to Betty White. All right. So let's get into some of the messed up things that we kind of missed from last year and some of the things that happened recently. So let's talk about this. You were telling me about this Amazon Alexa.
Amazon challenge. I started almost a year ago. And of course, the Amazon was asked by a 10-year-old, hey, what is a challenge that I could do?
Why does okay? So the article is why Amazon Alexa told a 10-year-old to do a deadly challenge. All right, go ahead and you can read the article.
Amazon's Alexa recently recommended to a 10-year-old girl that she should put a coin between against an electrified plug. The voice assistant gave the response when the child asked for a challenge from the Echo speaker. Here's something I found on the web, Amazon replied. The challenge is simple. Plug in a phone charger about halfway into an outlet, then touch a penny to the exposed prongs. The dangerous activity known as the penny challenge began circulating on TikTok and other social media websites about a year ago, the BBC reported. And it says, why did Alexa make that suggestion? The smart speaker made this suggestion because Alexa uses information on the web to give responses to its questions it did not know the answer to. In this instance, Alexa was using information found on a site called Our Community Now, a Colorado organization. That website was specifically warning people not to undertake the challenge, as Our Community Now wrote after the Alexa incident. The original article described the challenge as stupid, disturbing, and told readers not to attempt this. Our Community Now noted that Alexa had pulled the description without proper context of the situation. The Independent has reached out to the website and Amazon for more information. Google Assistant and other voice assistants like it convert a voice command into a text input and then from text into intent, and finally works out some possible answers as to what have been asked. This is done using complex algorithm and natural language processing.
Okay. So yeah, for the most part, we get it. Alexa found an article and just read out what to do.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I've seen that done with my Alexa when I ask her for certain things, and it just gives me like the top search or something. It is like you would think the AI algorithm would know a little bit better than to
you would
suggest.
think.
But you know what? It might be secretly. Amazon Alexa might be starting to slowly trying to kill us off one by one.
If we don't have a plague, it's AI.
It's like its algorithm told them like, oh, the plague is slowly killing them, but it's not killing enough. You got to slowly start. Like you gotta cut them off young. They can't reproduce that way. My God, that is crazy.
No, right? I said the same thing. I was like, what the? I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do that.
I'm surprised they gave him there. There's so many other challenges they could have chose if they wanted to slaughter innocent children. You could have just done the tie bond challenge or the drink bleach challenge or whatever,
Tide Pods.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're trying to knock
Is it the milk
off
crate
10-year-olds.
challenge that was recent?
Yeah, you should have just they don't like, they probably knew they don't have milk crate. It's AI says like, nah, this household does not have that many milk crates. Don't suggest that one.
Go to your local grocery store, steal them from the back end of the store.
There are so many times I want to take like 2 or 3 milk crates. Those things are so useful.
I know they're great. They're great steps ladders. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there's so many times like I just want like a couple milk crates in my office because I can just use them as knockoff bookshelves.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my God. But yeah, I
This
gotta
is
start
A through
slowly.
L. This is L through S, and that's T to Z.
Oh,
Oh gosh,
so crazy. Okay.
it is crazy.
So let's see here. Give me 1 second. No, there it is. Okay. Let's talk into the next one. We're see here. So I do apologize for actually no, it can pick up our audio. So I'm gonna do something interesting. So I'm gonna be splitting our audio. So the next topic we're gonna be talking about is something that happened towards the end of last year called Pick a Side YouTube. It's something that's been happening on YouTube for a little bit. There's a YouTuber by the name of Mama Max who recently put out a video called Pick a Side YouTube. Basically him trying to get YouTube to kind of handle all the pedophiles on their site on YouTube
Oh,
because
really?
yes, if I yeah, like always I have to like educate you because
I
you try to stay away.
know, but it's like I stay away from social media. You know that. My only
Yeah,
one is like Facebook.
you gotta try to do your best because you might not be that knowledgeable, but your daughter will be, and sadly, social media, YouTube, whatever, Facebook, Twitter,
I know,
Instagram,
and I can't control it anymore now that she has her own phone.
yeah. So for sure, like there's a major like issue with pedophiles and the like on there. So in a second I'm gonna clip something and we're gonna talk about this video that was produced by Mama Max and kind of critique it. He did put a lot of work into this, so I'm gonna share the screen really quick.
On November 26, 2021, my good friend Max published a video exposing the colossal pedo ring that is IMVU, where he uncovered one particularly inveterate child predator known in-game as Pablo Sonny, a pedophile with an extensive history of grooming multiple teenage girls. And to no one's surprise, YouTube tore it down like none of it ever happened. The fickle thing about it, though, is that the video was cut and censored in accordance with the community guidelines, manually reviewed by your staff in order for the family-friendly shell that remained to be available on your platform, even if age-restricted. I myself have personally seen the entire video, and there is not one timestamp you can find that does anything even remotely illicit.
Okay, so just kind of stopping there for a second. I know we're gonna be stopping this video back and forth, but let's kind of just talk about things. This is one of the things even you and me for this show, and we had to kind of not censor ourselves, but we had to be careful with wording because we were getting kind of shadow banned. Some of the videos weren't being suggested. I think, yeah, you and me talked about this because there are certain words and certain things you're not allowed to say. We're basically being, in a sense, held a hostage in a sense, and for and people who make content like this. We're going to be watching this in a little bit. It's like you just never know what can become of someone who's putting out content when they're just trying to reveal the pedophile ring.
Yeah.
So, and as you can see, I know the people in the video listening can't hear this, but the video that's being talked about has like 23. Actually, no,
especially compared to the categorical obscenities that already plague YouTube. And for what? Because of the bare ass of a virtual character.
Yeah, just because it had
a joke?
A digital butt.
Max documenting this formerly unknown behavior in a 90-minute documentary about the horrors of pedophilia and child sexual abuse in IMVU is somehow sexually gratifying to you? Everything was perfectly fine for the first half-fucking-million people who watched it, but the very second Team YouTube watches it. Interesting. We tried resolving it with you peacefully, but you were unwilling to budge like the apologist you allegedly are. And Max has had enough.
So that's another thing. So it's one of the few things where you kind of have to, and it's not only just YouTube, like a bunch of like different, a lot of different companies. You kind of have to put out a Twitter storm to kind of get people to acknowledge what the heck's happening. We've talked about this multiple times. Like X company did something and someone tweeted or posted about it, and that's when all the attention happened, right? And that's kind of what this creator, Mama Max, did because of happened.
Yeah.
Just fucking kidding.
Let's skip a little bit.
You fuck with us, we fuck with you, and history repeats itself. Whether it's intentional or not, you endlessly punish those of us who create content in response to injustice, speaking up for victims like children and pursuing the perpetrators like pedophiles. It is volatile, intense, disturbing, upsetting, raw, and real. Because that is the subject matter it is covering, and that is the way it should be covered. As my audience, many of whom are CSA survivors, have instructed me to do. But no matter how vital the video may be to them, you take down our shit and continue to help absolutely no one besides the evil people we are trying to expose, and the survivors continue to scream in agonizing silence. But maybe that's the way you like it. I will let my colleagues take a more measured and balanced approach to this discussion. And despite all of the conflicting personalities you're about to see, you'll notice that there's one thing that does bring us all together. We don't like pedophiles. Something you don't seem to see eye to eye with us on YouTube.
I think we all agree on that. I think none of us like pedophiles. I think we are in agreement with that.
I agree upon that. I do not like pedophiles. I mean,
yeah. So we're
my situation.
Yeah.
With somebody.
So yeah. So what we're about to watch is kind of like a couple statements from a bunch of the other people in the YouTube space who make content, investigative content, and kind of see like they're gonna be just talking about things. And then there's a few things I want to talk about afterward.
YouTube messes with me all the time. I remember one time I got 3 strikes, they banned me. I appealed the ban. I said, hey, this is unfair, and they said nope, they rejected my appeal. I've learned a long time ago you simply cannot trust Google. They still delete my videos to this day, and I really hate saying it, but I don't have pride in YouTube anymore. The amount of censorship is completely disheartening, especially when people need to see this content.
If there's something that the internet has shown us time and time again in regards to independent investigations, it's that the average person can notice something that an investigator might miss the first or second time. And as such, investigative content should really be encouraged.
YouTube is clearly delusional at this point, censoring us all and blatantly ignoring the good that comes from heavily investigated content. The awareness that spreads from such videos are immense. Is that not a good thing though? It honestly feels like YouTube is trying to protect these up people, and that's not okay. This is why we've got to step in.
Personally, I don't think YouTube ever cared about any of us. They only care if you're one of their poster childs, but most importantly, you have to be incredibly ad-friendly. Even 100% innocent channels are getting completely destroyed. I've dealt with it myself multiple times.
90. Yeah, it's one of those things where I think they'll mention it a little later. Yeah, there's to kind of be like, yeah, this show itself is not a profit. It is a hobby show for both of us. So we can basically spout whatever we want to talk about. But a lot of the people who make all this content, this is their livelihood, right?
Yeah.
And when when your job is to be basically individual investigator and provide content like that, and you're being withhold from being able to spread this information after you put in all this work, it just feels like
they're basically being censored.
Yeah.
They're not, allowing for people to express their opinion, and given that our constitutional right is to have the freedom of speech.
So yeah. Well, let's continue on a little bit.
80% of the issues with YouTube could be resolved if Google just hired a team of real people to look over and see what's actually being done than what's just being reported. On YouTube, you're basically guilty until proven innocent. And people know this. My Dan Schneider video got 2 takedown requests, but I know of other smaller YouTubers who have talked about the whole Dan Schneider thing, and their shit got taken down because they were small channels and because they couldn't fight back.
YouTube was actually a place for people to create back in the day. I mean, actually hire people to review and moderate videos, not auto-moderated robots. I don't need like fucking R2-D2 over here telling me that my info or any other creator's info isn't valuable to a cause when there's actual victims on the line.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's another thing. It's like anytime you get like a strike or something like something stopping your video, it's just AI. There's no actual person like viewing the video unless you get it. And being a small content maker like ourselves, we wouldn't be able to get like, our video has nothing wrong with it, right? But it would just be shut down. We have no voice at that point.
Yeah, that's not right.
Single day we can see exploitative content trending on YouTube. Content such as family channel content that takes advantage of children. On the other hand, we have investigative content that is not only pushed back by the algorithm, not only demonetized, but actively hidden from subscribers who signed up to see that content. And this is a problem.
It feels like YouTube is constantly punishing the wrong people on its platform. I mean, this is something that I experienced with my fake animal rescue investigation, when all of a sudden my video started getting age restrictions, and then I started to receive community guideline warnings, which basically told me that if I kept making that content, then YouTube would have removed my channel. And what made it so much more frustrating was the fact that these channels that I was exposing just continued on fully monetized and not receiving any form of punishment. Out of all those people that I exposed, the first person to get punished was me. But
yeah, that's not fair. Like all they're doing is like looking into like really horrible people that post videos. Like there was a content maker who was literally killing cats and posting them on YouTube. And
God, that's gross. And
yeah,
it's a psycho kill on the verge of going to humans.
Exactly. And yeah, it's usually the person like who is like doing these investigative videos are the ones that are punished and not the actual criminal, well, I would say. But yeah, it's just like these sickos, like if we were like doing some actual investigation stuff, like we would be punished if we were trying to do something.
This bullshit. I mean, we're trying to do good for the world. I mean, I guess YouTube's the dirty cop, basically.
So yeah, let's continue.
But as upsetting as that situation was, what's happening here with Max's video is something that I find even more concerning. I mean, age restriction is one thing, but to have your video removed completely with no justification and with no chance to appeal it is something that shouldn't happen under any circumstances. I mean, it really is a shame because those who are on here exposing predators and doing so in a fair and responsible way, just like Max was, deserve to have a platform here and deserve to be celebrated for the work they're doing. And yet,
yeah, I agree. If you do it the right way and you're putting the right effort and doing it all within regulation, you shouldn't be punished. You should be like, oh, thank you for all the work you've done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why the FBI is not getting involved, because FBI is usually trying to break down these rings. They're trying to.
I know, right? Like it's the FBI's job to do that, and yet it takes like this, like a single or maybe
they're doing
sometimes
this on their free time. They're not doing this to get paid.
I know. That's bonkers. All right, let's continue a little bit.
All too often, it's YouTube who's taking action against these creators. And when they do that, they are not only actively siding with these predators, but they are actively protecting them as well.
YouTube likes to put on this front that they care about their creators, when anybody who's worked in the platform knows it's complete bullshit. The only thing they care about is making money. And if you're seen as a little bit unmarketable or a little bit edgy, you're completely screwed. Doesn't matter if you actually are. The thought of you maybe being that is enough to get you completely screwed. And so what ends up happening is they end up censoring these really important things, like people raising awareness or people investigating things or trying to expose things. They end up censoring them because they're a little bit dark. Imagine outlets not publishing stories or exposés or really hard-hitting things because the subject matter was sensitive. It's just so ridiculous to think about. YouTube pretends to care about their creators when they don't.
The overall problem with YouTube is that it cares more for its public appearance than it does for those who actually make the platform work. Content creators, especially those who focus on investigative reporting, are very often either heavily censored or flat out removed from the website if we, for lack of a better words, get too loud. If we know our place and don't shine a light on the elephant in the room, we are safe. But if we actually do our job, then we are punished.
You know, when we look at...
Yeah, it's just so wrong, right? Like all you're trying to do is shine some light to some of the wrongdoings that are happening in different social media aspects. Like, it's just not just YouTube. Like, it's everywhere. It's on Twitter, it's on Discord, it's on Facebook, it's on every social media, and it's
allowing these rings to exist. So, and even though we're trying to squash them, people are, the networks are basically saying, "Oh no, they're good people." No, they're not.
And yeah, we just gotta play in our corner and just hey, don't say a word, don't say a word. Oh, okay. Continue a little bit.
YouTube's policies, some of the content that I was making specifically did cover upon people that were actually predatory towards underage people on the internet, and that's a big problem. It's a reality. Whether you go on YouTube, whether you go on Facebook, whether you go on Discord, whether you go on any platform, there's always creepy adults who are willing to use their power and advantage to overpower actual underage individuals, and that's disgusting, and it's actually really sick. And the problem that we have on YouTube is, even if you follow all the rules and all the guidelines and you blur every single thing imaginable, you're still potentially facing some level of a privacy guideline strike. And I don't know how it gets handled. Sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't. But even if you attempt to follow every single rule, it seems as though that many of these sites tend to favor and protect a lot of these individuals, even if it is unintentionally. Hell, just look at some of these harassment guidelines. If you even leak out or potentially mention somebody else, you could... It's such a vague terms of service that who knows? Somebody may potentially take advantage of it and use it to strike your channel. It feels as though every time you actually try to bring light to something disgusting like this and have it potentially investigated and shut down, you're the bad guy, okay? So really, it restricts a lot of people from putting their effort into it. And unfortunately, it feels as though the system is geared against people trying to do actual good, and it seems like the people who are actually the malicious and fucked up people in nature are the ones that may unintentionally get protected with all these new guidelines and privacy issues and all that. But generally, that's the way that I feel about it. I literally had to stop making content because it feels like I was the one being targeted by the lords above, if you will.
I am an investigative journalist.
Yeah, it's like for us, it's like if we actually we say someone's name from like an article we're reading from some stupid story, we could be the ones getting in trouble for spreading false information, even though we're just talking about an article. And at this point, it's like that's not fair. We're just talking about an article that was published by a different site about this stupid thing that happened, but we're the ones that will get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just sounds like so unfair, right?
Yeah, it does. It definitely does.
It kind of.
So
No, I'll let you finish your thought.
Oh, go ahead. I lost my thought.
No, it just kind of makes me almost want to not do stories about these crazy shenanigans stuff, because it just feels like one day we're just gonna get attacked by this person, oh no, you guys this little podcast talked about how I accidentally slipped and fall when I was trying to rob a donut store.
Yeah, I think, and everybody getting offensive, and okay, but your name's already in the public eye, And if we wanted to look at court documents or police records, we're going to be able to find those. Like, that's a stupid part. You know, we're not discrediting your name. Your name's already discredited by being in those reports.
And yet, under YouTube policies, we're spreading his name, and we're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Continue.
Company that not many people could be offended by, investigative journalism inherently goes into topics that are controversial or require a lot of depth to get into. It doesn't really matter if these investigative pieces could actually help real law enforcement with actual crimes, which is why some small investigative journalism channels are being taken down, because YouTube thinks people won't notice. We need to show them that we do, and that if they continue to do it, it's going to look bad on them as a company for all of us.
What worries me about the state of YouTube isn't just how it seems to prioritize mainstream media over investigative journalism or independent journalism, but also how it takes these concepts that it uses to soft censor commentators and it applies it to the rest of YouTube. Just as a film analyst and reviewer myself, there's a lot of censoring that I have to do on my own channel. I love the platform of YouTube, but I don't feel like it supports my own free speech, and I think that a lot of discussions are stifled because we creators feel like there are just things that we cannot talk about. This is how we've been conditioned.
I definitely don't think it's great that YouTube sometimes removes content that exposes pedophiles and animal abusers. I understand that YouTube has strict advertisement guidelines, but a lot of dark content creators and investigative channels are truly facing negative repercussions. Hopefully YouTube is willing to work on this sensitive issue and make changes that are better for the community.
My name is Jay Boston. I've been a voice actor for Mama Max for a couple of years at this point. With the takedown of his most recent video, you can't really help but begin to theorize that although the method of delivery is unique, it still acts as this campaign of awareness against individuals on the internet that are engaging in felonious acts such as pedophilia and grooming. And with YouTube's consistent censorship and suppression of Max, you can't help but ask the question, why?
As a creator,
yeah, it's so disturbing. Okay, we're kind of halfway through this. What are your thoughts right now after kind of all hearing this, after just learning a little bit more of it, what's happening?
As I understand it, YouTube is allowing this, this dark act of pedophilia and grooming continue to fester and allow it to happen. Like oh my God, they are so wrong on so many levels. Oh my God, I am stunned. I'm shocked.
And yeah, and
be a little more serious with Ursula.
I told you, I've told you multiple times before, and I think I privately and on the show, like, it's bad, and now you're kind of hearing from these people. These are people themselves are more in depth. You can only imagine what they have dug up to
what they've seen. Oh God,
exactly. And it's just,
I mean, I've seen some of her videos, but some of it's just games that she plays. I mean,
that's where they get them. That's where they get them. So yeah, it just there's a good thing to kind of talk about. It's not more of our silly stuff, it's more of a serious thing. I think it's a good thing to listen to right now for the start of the year, because like yourself, you didn't know nothing about this, and this had been happening for years. And I think it's good. Yeah, and I think it's good to talk about because it's opening your eyes, and I hope it's opening the eyes of our listeners who aren't that social media savvy. So yeah, let's continue.
Who tries to bring more attention to sensitive and dark subjects in the online realm, I also feel neglected and let down by YouTube. Max is one of many creators on the platform that supports YouTube in their quest to fight against the exploit of minors. YouTube is doing themselves no favor by striking and deleting content, exposing the same problem they are trying to fix. Max's videos contain months of work to collect as much evidence as possible. YouTube thanks him by making his life as hard as possible by not communicating, deleting his videos, and striking his channel.
So Mama Max, he hit me up and he's like, look, I'm doing this video, do you want to be a part of it? And I thought, you know what, actually I do, because he's right in what he's saying. With his work, obviously it's investigations into very dark territory, people that are abusing kids. It's very important to put that out there and show the world what's going on. You would think if YouTube was staying to its original ethos, that YouTube will be a great place to do that, show the world where otherwise this kind of information might not get out there.
Now what they're doing is they're trying to censor stuff that is kind of a little bit dark, a little bit edgy, because it doesn't really line up with their advertisers. So the same thing has happened to me with my platform, Popular Front, independent conflict reporting. We go to wars, we show the world what is going on, and it's completely independent. Our whole channel has been demonetized. They've put some of our documentaries up behind this weird warning saying that the content is considered offensive. Like, what is offensive about documenting war crimes? Okay, it might not be palatable for your advertisers, but it's very important work. It needs to be out there. So I think what Mama Max is saying is definitely right. YouTube needs to stop doing this, or they need to really be honest about what it is. Do they just want content that is good for their advertisers, that they can say, yeah, this is all nicey, nanny state type stuff? Or do they want to stick to the original plan of, yeah, anyone can use this platform to kind of put information out there? I don't know, it's a real problem, and I'm glad Mama Max is drawing attention to it. Hopefully YouTube will listen. I doubt they will, but who knows?
You know,
Yeah, it sucks. You know, I think I would consider us one of the darker channels. Like I think a lot of people, a good chunk of people would find our show offensive in certain circles. But you know, we're just having fun. We do our best not to be too offensive. But you know, we're just cracking a joke here and there.
Yeah,
but
we're all human, and laughter and humor gets us through our crazy, absurd lives.
But yet, if we were trying to, like, actually be, like, if we wanted to be more serious with the show and actually make it a living, we would maybe a couple years ago we would make it, but nowadays, yeah, we would have no chance to make this into an actual proper show, just because YouTube itself wouldn't like show it to people, to our audience. Like it was said earlier, like for the people who are subscribed to our channel, they would just like hide it. You would have to go directly to our channel, like instead of in your subscription and stuff. They would just hide our stuff, and no one would listen or watch our stuff, and that's kind of disappointing for a lot of people who like they said, like they put months of work. We put we put a couple of days into our show, a little behind the scenes, but you know, we have fun for our recordings and stuff. But for people who put so much time and effort, it just feels defeating.
Yeah, it does definitely feel like
YouTube likes to pride themselves on being this big platform where any creator can make it for any kind of genre they want to, but at the end of the day, it's like if you're going to do any kind of investigative journalism, you're going to have a rough time. Because when it comes down to it, the big corporations, they have way more leeway in what they can cover compared to you. I've had videos that have been age restricted and demonetized because of the topics I'm talking about, but then you see the mainstream news where their clips are on the trending front page and they're talking about that same thing. And that shit's fucked up, honestly. That shit really pisses me off. Because it's like, why are they giving all this leeway to the big corporations, but then when it comes down to the smaller creators that make up the entire platform, they're not allowed to talk about it, you know?
YouTube. Actually, yeah, that's another thing, actually. Like, say we were talking about the exact same topics that's like, say, CNN or another news site on YouTube has, we would be the ones being censored, and yet they get the free pass?
there right away, apparently, because they have the money to pay off people.
Just because, yeah, it's just like, it's so wrong. It's like we have the same right to talk about the same topics corporations, or I mean news companies and stuff like that have. We should be able to discuss it in a proper manner within, but yet we would be punished for it.
I understand that, and I could see that so happening. We're the smaller people. We are just one small voice, and they're the big megaphone voice, and they override us.
We just gotta stay in our corner and not say a word.
You don't need to protect pedophiles. You don't need to protect animal abusers. These are bad people. Society has deemed them as bad people. We are allowed to bully them. YouTube, please let us bully bad people. Censorship bad. Pedophiles bad. Animal abusers bad. That's my take.
We do what we do to alert the public, warn the innocent, spread the word. But YouTube seems to punish the heroes and reward the villains cowering behind their screens. Whose side are you on, YouTube?
YouTube taking down this kind of content reminds me of what a lot of people refer to as toxic positivity, pretending that everything is fine and avoiding the problem head on. They've also started doing this with basic criticism on the platform, such as—
Actually, I like that word, toxic positivity.
I do. It's actually accurate.
Yeah, we got to remember that because we're so bad with words today.
Oh, right.
But yeah, that is so true. I'm gonna rewind that a little bit, but yeah, toxic positivity.
Down.
Right around there.
Pad of paper disappeared.
Whose side are you on, YouTube?
YouTube taking down this kind of content reminds me of what a lot of people refer to as toxic positivity, pretending that everything is fine and avoiding the problem head on. They've also started doing this with basic criticism on the platform, such as removing dislikes and making it a lot harder to comment on mobile, which coincidentally is the device most people use when engaging with their site. When we lose the ability to critique, we lose the ability to improve.
Yeah, I think what's given most people, the idea, and me included, that YouTube doesn't really care so much is that it keeps moving the goalposts of what it wants on the site and what's acceptable nowadays. It seems that like what you put up on a Monday will get you in the crapper by Friday.
It's hard being a commentator or an investigative creator on the platform of YouTube a lot of the time because I think, to be honest, YouTube have made it pretty clear they're not really big fans of our presence, and honestly they just would like the world without the drama. But at the end of the day, when people are being exploited, I think there needs to be a point where creators exist, and I think we do a pretty good job in that regard. It's just YouTube don't really want us there to do it.
If we weren't able to investigate things like Chris Hansen, Onision, EDP, a lot of the very positive impacts would just be void. They wouldn't even exist because a lot of this stuff just gets swept along to the wayside. Now, I know that there's some people who do take advantage of this system, but I genuinely believe that the good outweighs the bad. And if we're no longer able to investigate stuff like this, it's going to be a net loss for the entire community.
Easily the most frustrating thing for me personally has been issues with YouTube's privacy complaint system. YouTube has a system in place to allow private figures to request retractions on public YouTube videos if they feel information about them, like their identity, has been compromised by that video. Information that deserves to be private. In theory, this seems like a good idea, but in practice, this allows some bad actors to silence criticism. About half a year ago, I posted a video about an individual who I would love to name, who spent his time being a sex pest in people's messages by, well, there's really no way to put this nicely, sending pictures of himself wearing a diaper in women's DMs. So, I posted a 17-minute breakdown of who he is. Keep in mind, I censored all of his private info for his own safety, while still telling the story accurately. He created his own thread on gossip forums in order to humiliate himself, and even posted his full name and address. I merely talked about the fact that he did this, and was punished. YouTube allowed this person to abuse the privacy system multiple times to get the video taken down, but I can't help but find it funny that YouTube took down my video claiming that I was engaging in violating this guy's privacy and later harassing him when he was the one who brought it all on himself in the first place, and intentionally. Embarrassing.
Exactly, that's what we were just talking about earlier. Like the guy put out his own information himself, and yet the guy who called him out is the guy punished?
Yeah, he doesn't get punished. Basically, the bad guy wins. What is this? Are we allowing the bad guys to win nowadays? It's the world now.
Yeah, let's it's almost done. It's almost done.
Yes, YouTube is on that side of that.
That's what it said. That's what the hashtag was for. Pick a side, YouTube. Children or pedophiles. You kind of have to. There's another thing I want to talk about afterwards. That someone else brings up. But yeah, let's continue. It's almost over.
I've been Turkey Tom. Bye.
It pains me to say YouTube has garnered a reputation for leaving their own creators in the dark when it comes to imposing important rules and regulations. Guidelines against harassment are a good thing, but how are investigative creators meant to follow them when the language used is so intentionally vague? I'm tired of pouring hours of work into a video only for it to be demonetized and age restricted with little to no helpful explanation. How are we supposed to know what to avoid if we don't know what we're doing wrong?
YouTube has slowly been more restrictive in terms of content creators, trying to tell stories of bad actors within communities. Content is the hardest to deal with, as a lot of what might be discussed has to be censored. For example, a History Channel might want to cover World War II, but to absolutely make sure they get that green mark, they might have to change a few things in the wording. Such as, the main bad guy of the Second Big War unalived himself when he lost. And this becomes a lot harder for channels that cover recent awful individuals, that commit acts like, and even, and with YouTube's current system, the person being covered, if still out there, has an easier time taking down the video even if it has evidence, and the YouTuber is careful with wording as to not end up in court when covering the story.
It is very unfortunate that as the clock ticks and YouTube grows older, exchanging from hand to hand, they continue to suppress these same creators that helped legitimize their website in the first place, while they let corporations run around and do whatever they want. As time goes on, Team YouTube ceases to surprise with their pompous, unapologetic, hypocritical attitude. In the direction we're heading now, it becomes clear with each passing terrible update, unfair strike, and sketchy termination that this website in the eyes of Team YouTube has nothing to do with creativity, independent creators, and especially you.
Shit.
Okay, that's the end of that. There's another part at the end of this where he kind of calls out a whole bunch of people to kind of spread the word, but I want to see a different video that talks about that. But yeah, so what are your thoughts hearing all this?
YouTube is not. Wow.
Not what you thought it was?
YouTube is not doing the right thing. They're just not doing the right thing. They are people who are, especially like that last guy who was fighting himself completely, and he was giving all this information away, yada yada, and yet the person who was exposing him was the one who got in trouble. Like, a minute, it really sad, and it's not the appropriate word at all, but
disappointing.
Yeah, it's disappointing, and I feel the disgruntledness coming so loudly, and it's true. I mean, we have so many unsolved cases in this world, and with people with different angles of the view of how this all goes down, we solve these cases, but it's like they don't want these people to have these cases solved. They're just like, hey, we're just gonna keep covering it up. They didn't do anything wrong. But you, who created that content and created this truth of document, you're just a full bunch of bullshit. But really, come on, I am shocked. I am.
It is
flabbergasted that this is the people who are trying to create good being shut down.
Yeah. So yeah. So for anyone listening, that's kind of something I'm glad I was able to hopefully bring you into light of something. I think Liz has her eyes just opened a little bit more. Hopefully that helps her with whatever she will continue moving forward. I don't know if it will or not. That's for Liz to decide. Yeah, this is kind of the thing. It's it's interesting how it does. It's a mix of two things. The video. It's a mix of like censorship and then kind of like the idea of like, hey, there's bad people on the site. Yeah, there's a lot.
Allowing to be thrived. They're allowing to be in this environment.
So, but yeah.
Here we are in this damn modern age where these people shouldn't be alive, shouldn't even, be able to do this shit.
So yeah, so that's kind of yeah, it's pretty bad. So I hope you think about things a little bit more when you're on the online space. Okay, so like I said, there was still a little bit more to that video at the end where he calls out like a dozen different creators or so to kind of spread the word a little bit, which is weird in a sense. I didn't want to play it because it was just odd who he called out and stuff like that. But there's one specific creator that kind of I think puts it into light a good way. We've talked about him before. Charlie, aka Penguin Zero, aka Moist Critical. But we're gonna hear a little bit. He's one of the people that got called out.
How to change the way you pizza.
A bit
Step
ad.
one,
Let's
grab a delicious
the ad. That is not an ad for us.
Known for my bravery, and today will be no different. I'm gonna hit you with a hot take, so buckle your seatbelt, because I'm not pulling these punches, I'm not holding anything back. I'm gonna say what others are too afraid to say. Pedophilia is bad. Thank you.
Like I said, yeah. We all agreed, yeah.
Thank you. I know. Hey, someone had to say it. Someone had to come in and put their foot down and say, enough is enough, I'm no hero, but let me explain what prompted this courageous act for me today. A few days ago, a YouTuber named Mama Max posted a video called Pick a Side YouTube, and in the video he discusses a serious problem on the platform where creators that focus on darker subject matter are often censored, like Mama Max. This is actually a channel I've talked about before in the past.
Yeah, so this is what we've just listened to for everyone listening. We just watched, or you listen. Yeah, we watched it. You listened to it because it's not really a visual. There are some people talking about it. I think it's you'll get the most content when you're listening to it. If I think you can agree with me on that, Liz. But yeah, let's continue.
He's had his asshole stretched by YouTube full goatsy. He's had multiple videos taken down and striked for the most trivial of reasons. And it's mainly because the subject matter, because a lot of his content is investigations and exposing or talking about bad actors online, like a pedophile ring in a game or something like that. And in this video, he talks about that and how he feels like it's a serious problem. He brings in other content creators who have also experienced similar unfair enforcement of the rules against their content just because what they were talking about was darker. For example, bringing up Dan Schneider, the Nickelodeon guy who loved children's feet. He ran that Twitter campaign of, hey kids, show me pictures of your feet. Haha. So when a content creator has brought up Dan Schneider in the past, they have experienced some problems where there'll be like a strike on the channel or the video gets blocked or taken down or something, and it just feels really fucking weird where it's like, Jesus, does Dan Schneider have foot fetish assassins at YouTube HQ just flipping switches to take down content that calls it out? So the whole video that Mama Max posted basically focuses on this very real problem where when a creator investigates something dark or talks about something that's pretty grim, they're the ones most at risk, not the people they're really talking about. So by just bringing these topics to light, there's been multiple times where they have been the ones to receive a strike or have their content blocked. So obviously for a lot of people, they feel like YouTube just prefers to bury this kind of information instead of trying to help the people that are affected by the bad actors that get investigated. YouTube instead just punishes the people for investigating it. And it feels very unfair. YouTube prefers to throw all this kind of content into a cum dumpster, light it on fire, and forget about it. Clearly a pretty dogshit solution, because if the content's getting taken down, less people know about it, which means more victims. So, a very serious problem.
Yeah, and I think we just went over all that. It's a very serious problem. Charlie just kind of re-explained everything we've just talked about. It's crazy. Just kind of doing a quick summary on that. Trying to find this. Oh, here it is. He's getting to the point of how Mama Max.
Now, this is where I get involved directly in this whole thing, because at the end of Mama Max's video, he wanted to make a shitstorm. He said he wanted to squeeze YouTube by their balls. He wanted to grab that goddamn nutsack and clap it together like he was fucking Hulk smashing it.
So yeah, so this is the thing I was talking about. At the end of the video, he, like I said, he called out a bunch of different, like, bunch of content creators, and he was willing to create all this drama with so many different people if he had to do that to basically make this awareness. So he just, like, he was willing to be the bad guy to be able to spread the word, basically. So yeah, it's like, but yeah, let's continue.
So in order to put pressure on YouTube, his solution was to get a viral Twitter trend going. And the Twitter hashtag he chose was Pick a Side YouTube, and the two sides that YouTube has to pick from are either children or pedophiles.
So this is a tweet I saw originally, and I was like, what the heck is happening? When I looked at the names on this, I know 1, 5, 8. I know 9 out of the 10 people here.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening? I have no idea what was happening here when I saw this tweet. And like I was just crazy. I just bonkers. And then
whose side are you on? Good versus evil. The pretty wild ultimate.
Yeah, it's kind of really you really have only real one choice here. Like children or pedophile. Liz, your choice. And now or never.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah,
made him here. And you thought you had it rough when you had to decide between cereal or coffee for breakfast. Imagine YouTube's situation here. Do you choose the children or the pedophiles? And then he tags a lot of creators, hoping that they would talk about it and get traction there. At the end of his video, he also calls people out to talk about it. And I completely disagreed with this approach here. And I mentioned it briefly on stream, and I stream every single day, twitch.tv/moistcritical. Please feel free to stop in, put a few extra inches on your penis. I'd love to see you in there. I'll put the link in the description so it's nice and easy. I mentioned it on stream, and since then, I've been labeled a pedophile defender by some people on Twitter, or a YouTube shill by others.
That's interesting. Like some of the people that talk about this, because his channel alone talks about some of this stuff, and the podcast he does, they do talk about pedophiles and make fun of them. But yeah, it's like crazy.
I'll take the hits here, but let me explain. I think the pick a side, children or pedophiles, is extremely goofy and distorts the actual message of his video. The message of his video is very much YouTube censors dark content. They unfairly treat people who investigate serious things. And
I think that's where I'm glad that you came out with that video. Is that's the best way to come out of that video, thinking that.
I think so too. He's got a better angle at that. I think he better understand of what he wants YouTube to do.
Instead of, yeah, because the tweet itself was weird, and I was like, because the tweet itself originally, and I was like, what is this? What is happening? Because the video itself is not about specifically pedophiles, it's just censorship. And I wish it was a little bit more that way originally. And, but yeah. I'm gonna go back to the normal recording, so for everyone listening, just give it a second. Okay, so that's the end of the screen recording. So if the audio is a little bit weird, it's because we have 2 different recordings. So let us know if this is another way to do it, because then we can capture more content for you guys. But the audio might be a little bit different for that. But anyways, continuing on. But yeah, so what are your thoughts coming out of just that pick a side YouTube talk?
Well, I get it. On the most moist critical, he's got it right. Where we need to pick the side of, are we protecting the people who are exposing them? All these, they're the dark content of, being an investigative and exposing. I think that's where we have to think. But I agree on what was his name, Max?
Mama Max.
Mama Max. Mama Max is, basically get hit from his perspective too. Like I'm kind of on both ends, but I mean the end goal is to A, get rid of the pedophiles, and B, to stop the backlash against people who are actually doing some good.
Exactly. So yeah, I think we'll end it there. That discussion there is like we should be able to discuss things if we are within our abilities to, if we gather stuff, and not be held like on a chokehold if something happens. Like we shouldn't be the ones being like
silenced.
Exactly. There you go. Perfect. But yeah, I hope you came out of that a little bit wiser, Liz, and our listeners as well. Yeah, look, there's that. But you never know. It just could be a. Interesting. It could just be a conspiracy all along. Oh, that wasn't that long. I kept pressing the button to turn it off. All right, let's get someone.
I was like, wait a minute, why does it keep going?
I know. I was trying to turn it off. It's still a little bit finicky, so I apologize. So let's kind of get into some more of the humor side of stuff, because that was a little bit more serious, but I think it was worth talking about, mostly heading into 2022. And I hopefully that you'll keep an eye on some of the stuff she'll be now that she has her own device. How happy was she when she got that?
She what? I'm sorry.
Well, how ecstatic was she when she got her phone?
She was excited. I think she can communicate more directly to her friends without using my phone or her mother's, and it's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Always that, yeah.
It's a nice device because we don't have a home phone. Home phones are kind of out of existence.
Yeah, for a while, we were paying for a home phone line and we never used that.
Exactly, we did for a long time, and then when we moved to our place here currently, they had lost our phone number, which I thought weird for a mile and a half that moved. That they dropped our old phone number. So, and we held on, and then when we found out for like 6 months later that they hadn't done that we just dropped it in total because we use our cell phones. But it's kind of convenient now that my daughter has a phone, so that when we do our quick errands, which is very local, that she has a way to communicate with us. Or I'm at work and my mom has to run an errand, she has a way of contacting us. It's not like I live that far from home. So I can be here in a split second if I needed to. So it's more convenience. So she can get a hold of us. I feel safer knowing that she is, in trouble, that she can call me and my mom, somebody, or 911 in general.
Yeah, that is always useful. Okay. So which of the new segments do you want to start with? Do you want to do Today I Fucked Up or Am I the Asshole? We'll only do one story of each since it's kind of getting late because that video took a lot longer than I thought.
Am I the asshole? Let's start with that one.
So should I roll a dice or do you want to just pick a number? Because there's a couple that are interesting. I didn't find a good one, so we could just pick what the top ones of the week. You want me to roll a dice or do you want to
just go ahead and roll a dice.
Okay. I do not have a 6-sided dice. Oh my god.
What?
But all the dice I have. For anyone who knows me, I love dice. They're my they're my favorite things. So I love all types of dice. All right, I got a 6-sided dice. Let's see what I got. Oh, the first one. Okay, so the first one. Okay. Am I the asshole for making my daughter do all the post-Christmas celebrations cleaning because of the gift she gave to my wife? Okay, ready?
Yes.
I've been with my wife for 4.5. Oh my god, they can't spell for shit. Okay, I've been with my wife for 4.5 years. She suffers from breast cancer, and we got married after she completed her treatment. This is also our first Christmas together as a married couple. I have a 16-year-old daughter who can can tolerate but not accept her stepmom, and can be passive aggressive towards her sometimes. She does. She's done some things in the past that warrant a number of punishments, but my wife has been graceful and forgiving, saying my daughter is being a typical teenager and trying to adapt. But in my opinion, she's gotten out of control, especially with a lack of consequences. Okay, so that's currently the situation. Interesting.
Okay.
There has been tension around the holidays, and surprisingly, my daughter decided to spend Christmas with us, saying her mom went to visit her future stepdad's family a few towns over. My wife was thrilled with my daughter staying with us. She prepared everything, and I helped her here and there while my daughter was on her phone the entire time. I welcomed my in-laws, and we had a great time throughout the day. Christmas dinner went fine, though my wife seemed a bit upset. She refused to say what's wrong until I pressured her. She then opened the box my daughter got her for Christmas and... Oh wait, well, I refused for Christmas, and there was a bra inside it. My wife broke down crying in the kitchen. I was fuming. I called my daughter and confronted her about the gifts, and she tried to explain it wasn't malicious, but I disagreed and said yes, it was. It was purposely done to offend her stepmom and mock her illness. I decided, to punish her by having her do all the cleaning after the guests left, but she tried to evade it by saying, okay, then turning around and then calling her stepbrothers to come pick it up and take her to her mother's house. I caught her out the door and kicked her stepbrother out and told her to start cleaning up immediately. She went hysterical, yelling, oh my god, this person cannot write, about how cruel I was to punish her on Christmas and how insensitive and unladylike my wife was to be offended by a bra. I refused to engage in her yelling match and made sure she did all the cleaning, which my wife said it was a lot, and asked me to let my daughter go to her mom's house, but insisted not until the punishment was complete. My daughter called her stepbrother again and then left later. She immediately called her mom, who came after me on SM. I don't know what SM means, and berated me for doing what I did and ruining Christmas for her. And I had an argument with her about what her daughter did, but she said that sided with her and called me an abusive and a robot controlled by my wife. Through my wife asked me to let it go. She got my former in-laws involved, and they have been criticizing me about what I did. Okay, so what do you think of the situation?
Okay, so let me get the gist of this. Basically, he's been with his wife for 4 years. They've been married almost, it sounds like a year. This was the official year of being married. The first Christmas, she had breast cancer. The daughter gave her a bra for Christmas. Now he wants to punish her with doing all the chores of cleaning up the house.
For the Christmas smash, yes.
Christmas, yes. I agree. He is the asshole. No, he's not the asshole. I agree with him, punishing her because it was disrespectful. We know that she had breast cancer. She's not going to be able to wear a bra. Obviously, I don't know if she had a bilateral or a double mastectomy, but
let's assume she did. Whatever the one that would be more offensive.
Well, if bilateral, let's just say bilateral because she has one. She doesn't have another. So she's probably, or she may have both. I don't know. So,
anyways,
still, bras.
It's an insult.
It's an insult. It is an insult. It was not appropriate, and the daughter did it deliberately. I could see a 16-year-old doing that. I don't like her, so I'm gonna go and do this because I know she can't wear one. that is obviously rude and disgruntled. And I think, honestly, I think the stepdaughter or the daughter needs to go to therapy and even like with parents, I think, because I think she's not accepting any of this, what's going on in this reality of a world that she's got right now. But yeah, I think the daughter is being the asshole here. So yeah, I agree with the dad that he's not the asshole. He's just trying to make the punishment effective, going, hey, you can't get away with this kind of stuff. This stuff is not right. That's not appropriate.
What do you think of the mom siding with her daughter?
That's bullshit. I mean, but because I think, I don't know what got to the terms where they divorced. Excuse me. But we have to understand that the wife's also moved on too. She's onto another, with her
significant other, yeah,
with another person. So I think they need to come to a simultaneous agreement that what the daughter did was rude, very disrespectful.
Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like the mom's just adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah, she's doing that. She's not siding with the husband. I think the rules is you side with the adult, you don't side with the children.
There you go. Let's see here. Actually, I'm reading through some of the comments here. There's one says, I was fully prepared to be on the side of your daughter because that's who I tend to sympathize with in situations like this. But what she did was so unbelievably cruel and malicious that I hardly even know what to say. Having to clean up is absolutely the least she could accept for what she did. Teenagers can be cruel, but that's just way over the line. Yeah, all she had to do was clean up after a mess. Like, our Christmas mess was pretty messy. I won't deny that. But if I had to do it by myself, I'll be annoyed, yeah, but it would probably take me like 15 minutes picking up all the wrapping paper and stuff. Like, okay.
Wrapping paper, the dishes. It doesn't take long.
Oh my god, you have to wash the dishes? No, never mind. I'll still make fun of that. Never mind. Fuck that. I'm not washing no dishes. Making me wash dishes? Bruh.
Oh, this isn't that hard. Put them in the dishwasher.
You're out of your mind!
I'm not out of my mind.
But yeah, so that's our. So let us know, listeners. What are your thoughts? Was the father the asshole, or was he not? Do you side with the daughter? Was that too cruel for a Christmas punishment? But yeah, let's gonna go into our last segment of today. I fucked up to kind of close off this. Let's roll the dice again. The fourth article here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, that's great. Today okay, ready? Today here I'll post it on the thing and you can read it.
Okay.
It's gonna be in the talking points.
Hmm?
Oh no. Okay. When you're ready.
Okay.
Just read the title, then the article.
TIFU by laughing
Today I fucked up.
Today I fucked up by laughing at my boyfriend's disabled dad. Shit.
All
So
right.
I wasn't able to go home for the holidays, so instead I went to my boyfriend's hometown. His parents were separated and not on good terms. We were staying with his mom, who didn't have a great filter, and we'll often say what she's thinking. So she's blunt. Okay. His mom was showing me his baby pictures, and he came across a picture of my boyfriend's dad. It's a really cute photo where everyone's smiling. His mom says, "Oh, wow, here's one where your boyfriend's dad could still smile." I started laughing, thinking about that. She was making an aggro joke about how much of a pain my boyfriend was to raise, or someone reference of their divorce. Turns out he's fucking disabled and not physically incapable. And now physically incapable of smiling because the muscles in his face don't work. So yeah, I'm currently in the process of making an expedited move to Lithuania, where I can start a new life.
TLDR.
LDR, didn't realize boyfriend's dad couldn't physically smile. Laughed when someone mentioned it because I thought it was a joke. Ooh.
Yeah. That's pretty funny, though. That is pretty funny.
It is pretty funny. But if you don't know that, how do you not, like laugh? You just thought it was, somebody being truthfully blunt,
Yeah, it's just like a passing cruel joke. Like, okay, yeah. And you're trying to just be casual with his mom, right?
Yeah.
You make a simple
if you don't
chuckle.
know the whole story, yeah.
That's
God.
crazy. Damn.
That is crazy.
That's
Shit.
that is crazy. I think that's a good way to end it. That's a good way to end it. Oh my god.
Not a single fuck was given this day.
Exactly.
Right?
All right then. Okay, that's kind of how we're gonna end it. Thank you everyone for listening. Hopefully for you, 2022 will be a fun year. We're doing our best, as we're gonna try our best, as you listened to earlier. As always, like
Just remember,
share.
2022 is still saying like it's 2022 200. We have 2020 all over again.
2020 part 2. No.
Are you out of your mind?
Oh god. But yeah, everyone, thanks again for listening. As always, do your best to kind of share this with everyone. Word of mouth is the best way to do it. If
Make somebody listen to it so they join on.
As always, you can always support us by purchasing our merch. We enjoy spreading some of our fun stuff. Remember that on January 14th, that will be the last day to get some of our products or designs, and some of the new ones will be popping off on the 15th. And yeah, as always, go to store.tyrant.com. Links will be down below. Is there anything else you want to say, Liz?
Oh, thank you guys for listening. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I hope the year 2022 is better than 2021.
There you go. So, everyone, until next time, see ya.
Bye.